Hi guys, Sansa here. As you know, there has been an update and we finally get DDD support. But this one seems to be a bit of a controversial pick because it is the supposed ace monster of Akaba reiji in the manga. However, the effects are a bit outdated. So let's go take a look at this new monster. So here we have DDD-D, Super Dimensional Sovereign Emperor Zero Paradox. Level 12, 3000 attack, 3000 defense, and a 10 scale. Pendulum effect, you can target one card in your opponent's pendulum zone, special summon this card, and if you do, place that card in your pendulum zone, and if you do that, destroy it during the end phase of the next turn. You can only use this effect once per turn. Now, this effect, it's outdated. This would have been great if we had it during the pendulum era. However, we are no longer there. I mean, if we run into any other pendulum decks, then we can go ahead and play this guy and he would actually do a pretty decent job. As for his monster effect, cannot be normal summon or set, must be special summoned by its own effect. When you pendulum summon a monster and the total pendulum scale of that card in your pendulum zone are higher than the total level of the pendulum summon monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if you do, destroy as many other cards in the field as possible. Then you can place this card in your pendulum zone. Once per turn, if another face-up DDD monster you control leaves the field by a spell effect, this card's attack becomes 6,000. Now, that is a lot of reading for this one card. So let's break it down, shall we? You can't special summon in any kind of way. You can't pendulum summon it, you can't use Pendulum Reborn, any kind of way of summoning it. You have to summon it by its own effect, which is already kind of a downside. Now, in order to actually summon this card, you need to pendulum summon. So let's say we have the standard scale of 0 and 5, meaning we have to summon a level 4 monster to be able to summon this card. For example, if you have a scale 1 and 5, then you can summon one level 4 monster and only one, and then you can summon this card. However, if you summon 2, that equals 8, but then your scales only add up to 5 or 6 depending if you're using a scale of 1 or 0. So this guy is summonable, but however, I think the reason why they did it this way is simply because of his effect to nuke the field. You don't really want anything on the field that can detriment you and screw up your plays. So I think they made that effect so convoluted to summon it for that reason. Now, there are ways around it. I would set up a Dark Armageddon field, probably summon him through normal ways, and then overlay it again to XC change into Deus Machina. Best case scenario, we detach Dark Armageddon and another card, and then we can go ahead and Pendulum Reborn it from the graveyard. And then on our next turn, we can go ahead and pendulum summon anything that meets the requirements, summon this card out, he nukes the field. However, due to Dark Armageddon's effect, we can go ahead and save our monsters. So right off the bat, we have 6,500 attacks worth of free damage. And that's just best case scenario. We're not even counting cards on the field that your opponent has, most likely a bunch of negates and other methods of screwing you over. But I mean, you can go ahead and use Dark Ruler No More. That should help you nuke the field and then keep a large monster field and monsters can be destroyed, and then you have two good beaters that can essentially run over your opponent unless they can recover from the field wipe. As for its secondary effect, if another face-up DDD monster leaves the field by a spell effect, this card's attack becomes 6,000. So right off the bat, I'm thinking Swamp King. You can fusion summon your monsters, one monster on your field and one monster in your hand or even your graveyard and summon a card. Then this card's attack becomes 6,000. I don't see it being used that often, but it is possible to do it, especially if you can go ahead and summon another DDD monster to the field after nuking with this effect. So this card is usable, however, the main issue is its summonability. It's not confirmed if the pendulum effect and the monster effect are going to be exactly like this, because I mean, I'm not really sure where this really came from or if it's 100% true, but I am hoping that we will get some sort of errata and they can make the card be a little bit more modern. For example, with the pendulum effect, I would probably try to put in a clause similar to Deus Machinex, where he can be summoned to the field or add another pendulum scale, for example. The effect to mess with pendulum zones of your opponent, it's fine. I mean, it is what it is. That's the kind of the point. I mean, we kind of have to keep that, but adding something additional would be great. As for the monster effect, the way it is right now, it's a bit lackluster, but like I said, it makes sense if you think about it because the nuking of the field, it nukes your cards too. But I think that using cards, setting up with cards like Dark Armageddon, and net you a solid victory. But there's already a lot of win conditions with DDD, so this is just another nice little bonus. And it's another 10th scale, so let's not forget about that. Scale of 10 is actually really nice. It sets up for your level 8s, rank 8 plays as well. What I would change with the effect for the summon, leave the summon the way it is if you must. However, after nuking the field, I would have the option of when you place it in the pendulum zone, that you also get another scale in your other zone from the extra deck, for example. And if you do that, you're allowed to pendulum summon one more time. Granted, you only get one summon from the extra deck since your extra deck zone doesn't have Gilgamesh and anything that you have in your hand. Which, if you summon this guy, you may not have the best hand since you're wasting a lot of resources just to even get this guy on the field. However, with this effect, I would add the little clause that the opponent receives half damage. But that's just kind of my way of trying to balance the card out. But it would be cool if we get additional effects with this card. So with this card coming out, it makes me wonder if we're going to have additional cards for support. We got Griffin and we got Machinex out of nowhere, and same thing with Patent License. These were not in the anime, they were not in the manga, so there is a chance that we can get more. The only reason we're getting support is most likely because from their algorithms they saw the amount of search and support and stuff that these cards actually people actually want support for these decks. I mean, they're still rogue deck. I mean, in Master Duel right now, if you look at the Duel Meta channel, it is considered a tier 3 deck now. It's no longer a rogue deck. So moving on up. So more support can probably get us higher. Though personally, I prefer it that we stay in the tier 2, tier 3 rogue deck status, just so that it doesn't become like a meta deck and everyone starts to use it. Because I mean, for me, for those of you guys who may not know my history, I've been playing the game since my college days, which is like 10 plus years ago. And we had a team where we just simply did not use any type of meta deck. And it was great. But anyway, getting off track there. So going over to the YouTube channel, we actually had a few of you guys submit comments, which I kind of want to read right now. I'm happy there's new member to join the DDD family, although I don't think he is strong. I don't think this would be a good beginning for DDDD cards in the future. I agree. Naming the card DDDD gives us a potential new sub-archetype into the deck. I mean, we have DD and then DDD. Now we have quadruple D, which I hate that the dub actually says triple D. That is why you don't watch the dub for these shows. Ultimus says, not bad for a DDDD card support. I just hope that there will be a ritual DDD monster in the future. I responded mentioning that I would like it to be a dark contract with the effect of when you pendulum summon from your hand, you ignore the summoning conditions or card type, like, ritual, which will allow you to summon this new ritual card and technically our new DDD card as well, which means that we would need a ritual monster to be a pendulum ritual monster, which I don't think we've had yet, and make it a scale of 13. Boom. That would be amazing. Chuck says, I mean, it's certainly one of the DDD cards of all time. Wait, it's certainly one of the DDD cards of all times. I think Chuck's meant to say one of the best DDD cards of all times. I'd much rather they gave us some more extenders in the line of Griffin, because this deck is one level 4 that summons itself and a good level 2 tuner, always from Broken. Still a funny card to experiment though. The Pendulum effect kicks ass against Endymion decks. Yes, against Endymion and other Pendulum decks, if we ever see them for whatever reason, this would be a great card to sub in. Can we get a scale of 12, please? I agree, Joel. We need a scale of 12. I'll be even really happy if it gives us a Kepler effect where after you set the scale on the next turn, the scale goes down by 2. I'd be okay with that. Looks awesome, but why destroy the whole field? Destroying Pendulum Stone's kind of bad, but still play this as 1F. I mean, I'm going to play it too just to see how it works. Again, Dark Armageddon is a viable option to set up. It's a lot of fun. I'm not sure how I feel about that. It's kind of meh or pass. Yes. Yes, it is. I wish I could read the card that says, okay, that's the reason why I posted the unofficial facts on the description. I don't think it's that good as it could be or should be. Disappointed, but happy. I just hope we get Go DDD support. Yes, technically we have a subgenre of DDD cards called the Go DDD, which essentially is a manga exclusive, but they didn't really go anywhere, which means we have a potential for additional cards. Really bad in my opinion. I agree, Alan. Off top of your head, it looks bad. It doesn't really seem playable, but everybody thought the same thing when the Dark Contracts came out, and they didn't like it because it means, you know, playing 1, 2, 3, 4 Dark Contracts, and next turn you take 4k damage. But after they got to experiment with the deck a little bit more, many people saw that you can circumvent the flaws of taking 1000 damage. So it's just a matter of people taking a look at this card and finding ways to summon it, to play it, to potentially abuse it. So what do you guys think of this card? I personally think it's a good gateway for more support in the future. With that in mind, the next video we're going to talk about additional support that might be coming from the manga and the anime. Please go ahead and like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for taking the time if you made it this far into the video.